Hi there. We're going to have a little segment here on mounting the handle in your hand tool head when it's a friction fit, not a taper screw fit. So here's one of the popular tools we sell, the Magna Gracia Italian digging hoe. This is a wedge type fit designed to have the head slide onto the bottom of the handle, or the handle slide through the top of the head all the way up. Still a little head sticking out, that's good. Tool upside down. Wrap the handle on the floor a little to seat it up into the taper, and usually the head will stay on just fine. Especially a few good blows into the soil and you've got it stuck on there usually pretty well, as the wood kind of fits into the, makes a nice mating surface with the steel. Now occasionally in the first few hours of use, before it really gets to mating properly, the head will come loose and slide down the handle. This one doesn't come loose very well, but if it, if you pick it up into the upright position and the head kind of slides down and pinches your hands, that's not terribly fun. Of course, you can always knock it back up on there, and that one holds really well. But the other thing that's a nice little trick is you can take a small finishing nail, which I don't have one here, or just a little screw, and just run it into the side of the handle right below the head. Problem solved. No way that handle can come back down the head, and all the inertia of the force of the swing is still being carried by the outward force here. The screw is just keeping it from sliding down the handle. Once the handle is seated well into the head, that screw wouldn't even be necessary, and most of the time it isn't. I would coat this handle with linseed oil. These are not really coated. They're a hickory handle made in Canada. So to preserve the integrity of the wood, a little oil is a good idea. Now we'll move on to this SHW Matic. Same basic system. Handle's bigger at the top, smaller at the bottom. Drops through the top. This is exactly like any pickaxe that's ever been made. Wrap it on the floor a few times and seat it in. Nice and tight. Coat the handle with linseed oil. If it happens to drop down the first few hours of use, you can either just put up with it until it seats properly, or do the same thing I did on the Magna Gracia. Put a small screw or nail in just below the head, keep it from sliding down the shank. Then you have those tools with what we call an axe fit, or a hammer hit, or a hammer fit, where it's a friction fit, but the head is actually designed to go onto the top of the handle. And this is kind of a dead giveaway, because you can see there's a slight relief cut into the top here. That is, the biggest part of the handle is not the top. It's actually slightly bigger just below the where the head's going to be. So SHW, which is the German manufacturer we buy these from, always makes their wood handles on the generous side. That is, they give you a little more wood than you need, because you're better off with a tighter fit than a looser fit. So sometimes this may not go on very well. This one's going to start in. And I'm going to take it like this. I'm going to wrap this tool on the ground, get it seated down on there. You can hit it the other direction as well. There we go. Get it on there nice. You can use a wooden mallet or a rubber mallet or something like that. Nice tight fit. Sometimes it's so tight that it just won't go. Sometimes you have to take a jackknife and actually shave a little bit of the wood away. But you're better off with it being a little tight than you are a little loose. If it's loose, it's going to want to come off too easily. So they give you some extra wood usually, and you can take the wood off easily with a pocket knife and then kind of custom fit it. The thing is, these are hand forged heads, so every socket is a slightly different size by a few thousandths of an inch. And being handmade with the kind of quality these are, there are going to be individual variances in the tools. So once it's driven up in there pretty much all the way, we supply these tools with a wooden wedge. Stick that in there. I'm not going to drive it down fully here because I want to be able to take this apart in a minute. But I would take a hammer and simply drive that wooden wedge down in there as far as possible, which is going to spread the top of this the handle and fill up the void in the center of the head there. So I'm going to drive that down all the way until it won't drive anymore, and then just whatever portion is still sticking up, if there's a ½ inch still sticking up out of there, you can just smack it with the side of your hammer and break it cleanly off. Then once that's fully down in there, we're going to pretend that it's broken off in there. You've got 2 steel wedges which are supplied with the tool. I usually put those in at roughly 45-degree angles right across the top of the other wedge, like this. That's going to spread the wood out. You can even put them in opposing angles like this. You can let your creativity be the guide. Some people put them in at 90 degrees. Doesn't matter, as long as there's 2 wedges in there to spread the handle out front to back and take up all the remaining slop in the head. Drive those wedges down flush and you're ready to go. Make sure the tool is sharp. Most of them have a pretty good edge, but a slight file, a little filing can be done on some of them. They're not razor sharp for shipping because they don't want you to cut your hand off during assembling the tool. So, assemble as such and enjoy your tool. Thank you.